All right, you ready? So here's like the intro part. To bra or not to bra? Exploring a journey of life's unpredictable twists and turns, how to claim your personal power from within and lead a fun, fulfilled, soul-driven life, one epic, hilarious, insightful coffee chat at a time. Let's get real. Let's get raw. This is your host, Em, on Bra or Not to Bra. Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
I am so freaking pumped for today's episode.
Me too. I can't wait. This is a long time coming.
Okay. Do you want to tell them what today's episode is called?
Yeah, asking for help.
Yes. To ask for help or to not ask for help?
Right.
That's the question. And how the hell do you know when the right time is to reach out, to get support, and how do you know where to go in order to do that?
Yeah.
So there's so much to start with. One, I want to let everyone know that we went to high school together.
Yeah.
And that this is like the least expected path that both of us thought that we would be on.
1000%.
And so just like talking to you as like an adult, and I don't know why I went like this. We're actually adults, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's been a while since high school for sure. So yeah.
I never want to say adult without this ever in my life because it means it's fully happened.
Yeah.
Seeing this as a real human in the real world is amazing, and I'm honored to be sitting here with you today on the third episode of To Bra or Not to Bra.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's so exciting, and it's funny how the world works. Yeah, we kind of just got connected out of seeing each other do some positive work after years of not communicating.
Like years.
Yeah.
Like I watched you on the soccer field and I was like, he's cute and really good at soccer, but that's all I know. That's it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like to quickly catch up after so many years and seeing the difference and like the path that we're on and the differences we're making. It's really cool and inspiring. So I'm super pumped to be here as well. So thank you for having me. I'm pumped.
You are so welcome. Do you want to just start off by introducing yourself? Before you hopped on, I basically just told everyone that you have the coolest job in the world because you spread kindness for a living. And that's the only way I knew to explain what you do.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. Kindness full time.
Yep.
Yeah. So my name's Konrad Kucharski. On social, I'm known as Kind Konrad, kind of branded myself that way. And it's for the reason of kind of my life's purpose. My mission is to spread kindness, put more positivity out there in what seems to be kind of a negative world at times. Not just at times, pretty often. And so, yeah, I do public speaking in regards to kindness, how it relates to all aspects of life, health, wealth, happiness, in the corporate world, also individually to people. And yeah, I started in the corporate world and just had this kind of burning passion of kindness, and was kind of confused as to, how do you take kindness full time? It's kind of a weird thing. It's not like fitness where it's like, oh, I can model after someone else. It's kind of like its own category that I had to figure out. But nevertheless, it's taken me to where I am today, and it's one of the most fulfilling things ever to talk about it, to see the impact it can make, similar to what you're doing with your work.
But, okay, so honestly, I've asked you so many questions about what you do. I should pretend like I know the answer to these and I'm just asking you for the sake of the podcast. But in all honesty, like, I still don't really know what you do. Like, can I tell you what I know? And then
yeah, for sure.
Okay. One, you're awesome, but like, I guess your full-time job is being awesome and kind. And you just go around and spread kindness to the world. So like the example that I give is the story that you told me of buying coffee in the Starbucks line.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell that before I continue? Because it's the best story ever.
Yeah. I think was it the first, the one I told you that kind of sparked it all? So it was actually, that was a follow-up to what happened a week prior. But basically, I was at a Chipotle one day, and I was getting my typical order, and I got to the section that had fajitas, the peppers, and they were out of them. And totally fine, like no big deal. I keep going, and I get to the cash register, and the lady says, the manager, she's like, "Hey, I noticed we were out of the fajitas. Like, this one's on us." And I already had my card in my hand, so I'm like, no, like, don't worry about it. It's literally not a big deal at all. Like, here. And she's like, "No, I insist." I'm like, okay, damn. And I don't know what sparked it. And I'd seen these like viral videos before of like, kind acts and things like that. But I guess I already intended on spending the money. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just pay for the next person. I saw someone just getting in line. She's like, okay, cool. And then I sit off to the side and I kind of just watch, because I've never done anything like this before. I was curious what's going to happen. Is this whole thing legit? Like, is this kindness thing real? And the guy like gets up to pay, same thing, card in his hand. And the manager's like, actually, the gentleman before you paid for your order. And it was like all these emotions all at once. It was like shock, confusion, joy, like wanting to give someone a hug, like all at once, kind of like his hands flailing in the air. And then he just like sees another person in line and he's like, "I'll pay for that next person." And
did he ask for extra guac first, since he knew it was going to be free?
Great question. I was too like perplexed by the situation that I forgot about the most important part of Chipotle. But
no.
Yeah, like long story short, it caused a 5-person chain reaction, and I was just standing there watching like, holy shit, this is powerful. And then
wow.
I pondered on it for that week, like, wow, like I felt amazing in that moment. All the people that witnessed it, the cashier, the workers, they felt incredible. Like they were all smiling, looking at each other, laughing. The people in line were all happy. And the only reason it stopped, the chain reaction, was because there wasn't another person to pay it for. So yeah, that week I pondered on it, and like kept thinking about like, damn, like I was super happy in that moment. I haven't felt like that in a while. Like, how do I scale this? How do I do this more? And that's when I went to the Starbucks, when I think I told you that story.
Yeah.
That's when my friend decided to record me, and same thing happened basically.
Yeah,
Chain
and you
reaction.
put it up and it like went viral, and that's how everything started.
Yeah, it made me realize like, wow, I need to show this to more people. And that's when I started posting it on social.
It's just so cool. It's so cool. And I think what I'm most curious about in that is, where's the distinguishment in the type of happiness that you got from doing those acts of kindness versus another time in your life when you were really happy? Like, what's different about it?
It's a very, very good question.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot. I did not prep him for these, you guys.
No, that's like amazing. And I think it's something that people definitely need to hear. I think it's a type of happiness that I haven't felt, because it's before that, at least much before, because I made so many other people happy. And I noticed that like I was more happy giving than I was receiving. You know, I love getting gifts, like Christmas, birthday, like amazing, please. I like nice things too. But
when's your birthday?
December 10th.
Guys, December 10th. Remember. I'll tell you his address later.
It's funny you say that, because and this isn't like a brag, it's just, again, it's just something I love to do. Like on my birthday this past year, I spent the whole day just going around doing random acts of kindness, because like
I remember that.
Yeah, it's just
you
so
made a video.
fun. Yeah, that's right.
And it was with like Alexa in the morning, and you like gave her a mimosa or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, again, like to your point, it's like just a different level. When you can put a smile on someone's face and realize that you created that, it like kind of gives you this empowerment feeling like, wow, I can really make an impact in this world. I can really change lives. Because you don't know what those people are going through. I mean, you look at like depression levels nowadays, suicidal rates, things like that. Like, and people don't express them physically. Sometimes it's oftentimes just going on in their heads, and you don't see it. And that person that you pay for their coffee could be going through that stuff, and that coffee could be just enough to, change their day, or quite literally keep them from going over the edge.
Yeah.
So,
like, you really just don't know.
Zero.
And to me, that's probably just the coolest thing in the entire world. And so there's another aspect to what you do, and it's speaking, and a lot of it is in corporate settings, which sounds awesome. And guys, he's a very great speaker. And if you're in any corporate environment and you're like, I want to add value to the team, this guy's really cool.
That. Thank you.
I mean, it's true. Otherwise, I wouldn't have you on here. And my question is, what do you do? Do you just go up on stage and you're like, be kind, it'll raise the profit?
I mean, that's actually one of the points. Yeah, like from a sales perspective. I really try to curate it to the audience, to bring the most value I can to the specific environment.
As a good speaker does.
Right, but I mean, there's so many applications too. Kindness is more so like a lens that you view things through than it is like a concept that you just try out.
Ooh.
So the things that I usually touch on are health, wealth, and happiness. So in a corporate setting, wealth, so like the productivity of your team that leads to more results. From a sales perspective, let's look at it like through that lens, for example. And I'm sure a lot of people listening, they either are in sales or know someone in sales, and you've probably gotten like a telemarketing call or like a cold email before. So what are the chances you respond to a cold email? Usually the rates are like 3% of people opening that email, something like that. Instead of doing that and applying like just the kind mindset, if this is like a client that could really, add value to your business, bring you a big commission, why not just write them a handwritten card and figure out what their favorite bottle of wine is, or their like favorite sports team? 9 out of 10 times they're going to respond. It's just people don't like see it that way. They look at it as more of like transactional as opposed to like a relationship. Like, these are humans. People know what a cold email is, what the intent is. But if you approach it with a kind heart, maybe that person isn't interested in your product that you wrote the handwritten card for, that you gave them their, something memorable with. But maybe they might know someone, and they'll introduce you. Like, it's really a win-win. So that's kind of one aspect to that side. But another is employee retention, employee happiness. Recognizing, you come to work at 9 a.m. Your first Zoom meeting is at 9 a.m. So let's say it's your birthday, for example. Chances are you haven't gotten a text yet from your friends telling you happy birthday at 9 a.m. But if your company is the one, or your team is the one that remembers and makes you feel good, like, that person's not going to want to leave. It gives them a reason to come in. Gives them a reason to get excited. And long term, in terms of like employee retention, if that person gets a higher offer somewhere else, they're a lot of times not going to take it, because they've already felt so welcomed and at home and appreciated and cared for at their work environment through little things like that that could literally cost nothing, or could be a really small investment.
Or, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But I was just thinking is there's that aspect, and then there's also like So same scenario, let's say they got another offering, but they're like, I like this company, but it's more money. I feel like if you feel valued at the company, you have way more confidence in going up to your boss and asking for that raise and expressing why and why you want to stay and what your value is without seeing it as being like petty or bargaining or anything like that, because it's just part of the culture that you're valued and feel included.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I mean, I think people realize also that they start to realize, at least as they go through their professional lives, that it's not that money can't necessarily buy happiness, because I view happiness as kind of like temporary, where it's like, yeah, if you get this material thing, like it'll make you happy in that moment. But it's not fulfilling. And if someone realizes that they feel good in some place, they know that that feeling or that that it's a desire that they might not be able to get somewhere else. It's valuable, and money might not be able to buy that at another place. Like you might be getting a bigger salary somewhere else, but it's going to be tough to find a group of people like you have right now around you that actually care, and people realize that. So
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think we both experienced that because we both started in corporate, and then we're like, let's be entrepreneurs and
yeah,
pave that path and get really excited, but also scared shitless. And learning that for ourselves, I think that that's what's allowed me to really instill that value in other people without preaching it. Like it just flows out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is so good. I love all this stuff. Thank you for everyone who is watching and listening. Before we get into the deep, juicy details, which we're going to do, by the way, I start off every episode by asking 2 random ass questions. You get to ask one to me and I get to ask one to you.
Okay.
I sent you a list of questions before and was like, all right, pick one that you want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to ask you first, or do you want you to ask me? Or do you want to ask me?
Ladies first.
Oh, see you guys, Kind Konrad. Gentlemen, especially the guy I went on a date with that I shared in the last podcast. You should rewind and watch that again. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear?
Oof. That is that's deep. My biggest fear, I think, is the fear of not being successful. Yeah, not like attaining or not reaching a level of success. Yeah, it's kind of been one that started at an early point, but over time, I've kind of like, it's definitely still there, but it's become less of a fear, if that makes sense.
Totally. The coach in me needs to ask you,
Yeah.
what does success mean to you?
Oh, this is awesome. Okay. Success.
He's getting a free coaching session right now, you guys. I guess if you want one, then all you got to do is be a guest on my podcast, apparently.
Yeah. No, this was a great hack. What does success mean to me? I mean, I think it's a balance between a few different levels or a few different categories. I like to look at it as like health, wealth, and happiness. So from a personal health perspective, am I close to my highest potential? Am I performing at a high potential? From an emotional standpoint, am I at my happiness potential? Am I like, feeling good about myself? From for my future family, am I being the best, father I can be? Am I being the best husband I can be? Am I being the best friend, son that I can be in all aspects? So I think it's the way I view it now, because I think it's kind of evolved over time, is success being as close to my potential as possible. So if I, at the end of my life, when like, you know, I'm at, you know, the courthouse and it's like, all right, you gotta turn yourself in, you know, and like,
wait, what?
so like when, you know, at the end of your life, when like life is about to finish, you're about to go away, right?
Yeah.
That's how
you're going
like,
to the courthouse and being like,
yeah, it's
right.
like, you know, you're like, all right, I served my time, like whatever. You're like,
that's another episode, guys.
In front of the judge, let's say.
Got it. All right. Judge of life.
You know how when you play, have you ever played Mario Kart?
I'm a millennial. Of course I have. Okay,
so you know that when, you know, you play, you follow like that high, there's a shadow of someone with a high score.
Yes.
Facing that. So
yes.
that's like how I view like my potential, and I want to be as close to that as possible, right? So at the end of my life, I don't want to be too different from that, if that makes sense. Like, I want to be as close to what I could have been as possible.
You just said the coolest thing in the world. I mean, what I heard in that is, wow, I talk about this all the time, but not in that sense. And this is just, my mind is going crazy. Okay, so what I always talk about is living in full alignment with who you are mentally, physically, spiritually, everything, relationships, finances, blah, blah, blah. And you literally just described this like shadow of you that you're trying to get as close to as possible to thus feel aligned.
Yeah.
So your definition of success is to be continuously aligned in your life and everything that you do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a big part of it is...
What?
I think a big part of it is knowing that, like, there's no like end game. It's not like I'll be happy when.
Yes.
It's more so like knowing that I won't reach, like, when I reach that goal, there's going to be another one and another one and another one. Like, there's no destination really, but it's more so of being okay with that, knowing that in the process you're continually getting better. And this guy Ed Milet, I don't know if you've heard of him, but really cool guy, on social media, huge.
Did he go to our high school?
No, he didn't. He yeah, he's a bit older. He's like 65. It makes us feel a bit younger, but he calls it being blissfully dissatisfied.
Ooh. Yeah. I've heard that. Yes. I think it's exactly what you just talked about, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, kind of a long-winded answer, but
no, that's the point of this. I love that. And it leads over perfectly into what we're actually gonna get into of when to ask for help.
Yeah.
Is like meshed with the fear of not being successful, and then what that means to you and how you get help in order to feel aligned. Mm-hmm. I'm geeking out over here. All right, hit me. What's my question?
All right, your question is, what's the easiest or fastest way for you to get bored?
I don't get bored easily because I just entertain myself, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, when someone is super monotone or has no facial expressions, like they're kind of just like a body with words coming out of them, like their mouth is like kind of moving. You know what I'm talking about? Like you've been at conferences where you've seen those people talk, or like dates when that's only happened to me a few times, but like You're like, are you swear you're a real human? Are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
do I need to hammer you open? Wow, I'm not going to hammer open my dates, you guys. No one's going to date me after this. But I think it's just like, what's really behind that is when there's just no passion at all in what someone is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're not like super invested in it. Like, let's say when I was back at KPMG and I was in accounting, or no, I wasn't. I was in mergers and acquisitions. Wow. And I would give a presentation on something. It's not like I got high on numbers, but I still hopefully displayed a certain zest for just expressing whatever was going on up here, whatever I was presenting. So when someone doesn't do that, I fall asleep sometimes.
Yeah, I get it. I'm really similar in that, like, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I also, like, if someone doesn't have, like you're saying, like passion, if it's too monotone or text heavy, I start to doze off. And I'm sure if there's anyone here that's worked with me before, that they already know that. Like, I'll have coffee beforehand, like I'll do all the prep I need to, but like mentally I'm just not there. But I look at it as a blessing because it forces me to focus on things that I'm actually more passionate about. But
I love that. That's an amazing, that's a kind way to look at it, Konrad.
It's perspective, right? I mean, the curse side is, there's a funny story. Kind of embarrassing or whatever.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing, but it's okay. So if another thing, if not just like people being too monotone or like something being too text heavy, but also if they're being like kind of too negative or don't have aren't being solutions based. It's kind of just like, like yapping. And well, that's not a good prep to what.
That is a horrible prep because I think I know what story you're about to tell. Oh my God.
Well, okay. So
can I add in a transition for you before?
Yeah, please, because this is not a good transition.
It's not good leading up to this. I'm dying. Okay, so I think what you mean is when you're just kind of like letting it all out with no intention and without the prior intention of letting someone know that your intention is to literally just let it all out. Right,
yeah. So does
that resonate with what you were?
Completely, yeah.
Okay.
And you positioned it way better. So, I was, my ex-girlfriend was letting it all out on me. And in my head, I didn't see like an end goal, like an outcome or like a positive thing, like coming out of it. So I literally fell asleep. And how did
that end?
I mean, it took me out of the situation of having to, listen to it.
That's true.
I mean, and if you really want to look at like, what's the best way to, or the easiest way to respond or the harshest way, it's to fall asleep on someone. So, that was definitely embarrassing. And, but I mean, speaks to, being this whole thing being a blessing and a curse. So It's helped me in certain situations and it hasn't helped me in others.
I need to ask you something because a lot of the times I coach my clients on obviously their health, but also their relationships, right? So my question is, women and men, their brains work so differently. And you just described the classic male-female complex of men being solution-oriented and women being emotionally oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And like I, I know that there are times when I have tried to express my emotions, and then the guy I'm with starts like saying back to me an answer, like a solution, when all I really wanted was validation of my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a total disconnect, but neither of them are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us are wrong. They're just different ways of approaching the situation and different ways of kind of drawing closure on whatever is happening at hand.
Yeah.
So, given that, one, we know that that's a very typical distinction between men and women.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, this is a big question.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I think.
How do you know whether or not that conversation, so like with your ex, was serving you, like whether or not that was a growth opportunity in terms of learning how to communicate with each other, or distinguish that as, okay, this is time to get out?
Right. Whew, that's tough, but I definitely something I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. I think viewing it now, if I was in that situation, the way I approach those types of instances is thinking about someone's intention, because usually both sides are coming from a good place. In most cases, it's just that, like you're mentioning, the way of communicating it, it's a little bit different. So I think the way I view it now is more so understanding someone's intention, because usually their intentions are good. Both people. It's just the communication that's misaligned. Most people are good people for the most part. And I think we just get confused by a lack of proper communication and understanding and listening. Before, in that certain situation, I was definitely coming from a selfish point of view. I was like, all right, like, this isn't making me happy. Like, peace out. I'm going to nap. Instead of understanding that, this is happening for a reason. It's coming from somewhere. Let me try to understand this so that, we can work together and work our way towards something successful or a solution. Yeah, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
do it now.
So 100%, I agree. And then it comes with like, rather than trying to approach it right there, like you kind of chose a good route. I always say when things are getting kind of heated and you know that you're about to react in a way that it's not going to lead to anything. Like the best thing to do is walk away and just be like, hey, I love you. I want to hear all of this. And I know that if this continues right now, I'm not going to be able to be receptive to any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Take yourself out of the equation. Is it annoying for the person at that time? 100%. They're like, dude, get the F back here. I want you to listen to me. And then you get to later talk about how to communicate in a way that's going to help serve you both at that time, rather than try to fight the fires when they're happening.
Yeah. One thing that I'll add that this definitely doesn't happen immediately. It definitely takes time to kind of get to this point. But something that I've worked towards is sometimes stepping out of my own emotions, kind of like, Konrad's here, but let me step right here and view the situation through a third person's perspective and see what's happening. All right, you feel this way, you want to say this. Is this gonna, it's math. Is you saying this gonna lead to something good? Probably not.
You're just appealing to the CPA in me right now.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's hard to do, especially in the moment, because it's like you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Most times, if someone like triggers something in you, you stop listening and you start getting ready to respond, as opposed to like receive. or process.
Like
So,
right there, I wasn't really listening. I was, but like subconsciously, I just was like, yes.
yeah,
That
no,
was
I mean, we
good.
do it all the time.
We do it all. This is like my freaking podcast. I'm literally here to listen to you. And I just
Right.
like subconsciously was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
thanks.
that's awesome that you're able to call yourself out for stuff like that, because that's how we improve. That's how we get better.
All right, I'm ready to listen. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay. This is amazing. I want to dive into how to know when to ask for help. And this is such a loaded question because everybody's circumstance is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone needs help in different areas. A lot of people want to improve but don't know. Someone just commented, Konrad for president.
I saw that.
That's amazing. I agree, guys. I agree. But also, like, I take offense to that a little bit. I know whoever you are, you don't know me yet, but I'm pretty cool too. And so, at what point do you ask for help? Like when you're rock bottom, or when you're like doing okay? How do you know? Like, what's been your experience with it?
Yeah, that is it's a loaded thing that I think a lot of people can learn from. Yeah, it's tough. I think a lot of it starts with understanding yourself a bit. Asking for help, there's this connotation that asking for help means that you have something wrong with you. You don't need anything wrong with you. Oftentimes, the people that are the best at their craft are still seeking help to get better. The way I look at things is like, I mean, soccer in my head, right? So like Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, they still go to practice every week and listen to a coach. They still get help from a nutritionist, a weightlifting coach. So it's I think people have it kind of backwards where they think that they need to have something wrong with themselves to ask for help. But really, I think the lens that they have to look at things through is just the will to want to improve. So just because there's not something necessarily wrong with you doesn't mean you shouldn't improve it. Why not be better in all aspects of life, whether it's, emotionally, physically, mentally, etc. Yeah, I think it's just being okay with the fact that, we have our weaknesses, but why not go to someone that's an expert or find information from someone that's an expert and learn from them instead of, learning the hard way yourself.
So it sounds like it's rather than getting help because you need to be fixed, it's utilizing resources to stretch you into continual alignment with who you are and who you want to be.
Right.
I keep picturing that like Shadow Mario Kart version. It's
perfect,
I know. Because like there's the you here and now, and you are in an amazing place. Like, I mean, I can't speak for you, but me thinking about myself 6 years ago, like, holy shit, literally like night and day. And now my little Mario Kart self. Wait, who's the really cute princess one?
Peach?
Yep. All right. No, I don't want to be her. I want to be like a badass. I'm just going to be Mario. Okay. So my little Mario person over here is aligned right now. And there's always that shadow that's driving me to continue being in alignment, not with my like current self that wants to stay in one place, but as I progress, as I go down, because that changes as the race course changes.
Right.
Ooh, this is such a good analogy, Konrad.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, it's frustrating that there is this connotation, because then this negative connotation with asking for help, because then people don't end up seeking it, and then they're just shorting themselves of their potential.
Yes.
When really it's like the people that are the most successful have asked for help the most.
Yes. Okay, so I consider you to be someone who's successful. So that means, hopefully, unless you're just like completely talking out of your ass, that you have asked for help and you seek help in multiple areas of your life. So please share them with us. I want to know all of the ways that you reach out in order to continue feeling in complete alignment with your fullest potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like today I have a call with a speaking coach. He's like TEDx speaker. I mean, just like multiple, like best-selling author. Like I'm like, this past year I started speaking, and yeah, I'm pretty good at it. But I want to be, I want to chase that best potential of what could Konrad possibly be. Can he be on the biggest stages in the world? So to get there, I need to ask for help. Like in all that, like not just like getting coaches, but like I literally bought his book last week to read it. Speak with No Fear.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, that's like one example. Like with my fitness, like I wasn't a health and wellness degree, but I researched these guys who, have the types of results that I want, and I model them. I want to be at that level, So of course I can just try it out myself and learn the hard way, but why not kind of like go to the experts who have made the mistakes already, save yourself the years of time, stress, energy, etc., and be guided. Like, why not try to be Super Mario? Like, why just Mario? Like, let's be like, when you get the star, and like, if we're doing this Mario thing, let's keep it going. Like when you get the star in Mario, and you're like, anything you touch, like, you conquer.
Yes.
Why not be that in all aspects of life? Whatever that vision is for you, or, for me. Yeah, constant seeking coaching.
That like vibrational frequency that literally like just links and attaches and grows and spreads from one person to another. And it's so many different things put together. Like what you were saying, the coach you're talking to later is probably a really expensive coach. Like my guess is if you hire him, it's probably going to be like a 10 grand investment. So that's amazing. And we know the value of that because I'm a coach and you're basically a coach. Ooh, we should talk about that. You should totally get your coaching certification. And then there's that not $10,000 investment of buying a book. And that is still sending that star, that Mario Kart star energy. You purchase that book, that energy flows through. This is getting real analytical.
Yeah, no, I love it.
That energy gets to flow through the means of finances to whoever the author of that book is. The author of that book then is able to feel that boost in vibrational frequency, even if like he or she doesn't know what's happening. Mm-hmm. It is getting sent their way, and then that amplifies their existence
and their impact. Yeah.
And the more it amplifies that, the more it amplifies what you're going to get out of that book.
1000%. Yeah. It's like, and I think another thing that people don't really realize or like put into perspective is that these coaches, like they're giving, right? They're trying to give their help. But you can't really give what you don't have. So that meaning like, if you're not happy, you can't expect to give someone happiness. Maybe you want your like dream and desire is to give that happiness, but in order to do that, you have to have it yourself. That could be a skill. You know, maybe you want to be an author, let's say, but you have zero writing experience. You have to seek help. Like that's how you get better. I mean, we go to school and learn from these teachers that have ideally some kind of experience in this field. Like that's
I
approach.
hope. We went to the same high school, so I hope our teachers were good.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's actually where kindness comes into play a lot, and it's a part of kindness that people miss, is that the most like important fundamental part of kindness is before giving to others, give to yourself. Because and if you look at most people with a high level of success, like their daily rituals and routines, one of the first things they do, and these are the people that give a ton to everyone. They donate a bunch of their finances. They have such a focus on philanthropy, etc. Before they do any of that, the first things they do in the morning is give to themselves through, their fitness, through gratitude, meditation, all these different things, through reading.
Green smoothie that they make, they're journaling, like.
Exactly. Things that make them happy, before they come in contact with the world. It's like you kind of fill up your kindness gas tank so that you actually have fuel to give to others later. Otherwise, you're trying to give with an empty tank.
You're getting the star. You're getting the Mario Kart star.
Right.
You have to get that for yourself before it can spread to other people when you touch things through your app. I mean, don't go around touching everyone, you guys. I'm freaking. Okay. This is
deep. I love it.
Really, really good. There was one other thing that I wanted to ask you before we ended today. It has to do with therapy, because we both get help from, I told him before we hopped on, I have personal trainer, I have someone I do myofascial release therapy with, which is a really cool thing. I'll tell you about it later if you want to reach out to me. Therapist, psychiatrist, business coach, wellness coach. If you saw my bills during the month, you would think that I was a professional help acceptor, which I guess I kind of am. And so I'm listing those off, and then I was talking to Konrad, and I'm like, how about you? You're so into seeking help, being kind, giving that kindness to yourself. What about therapy? Have you ever been to therapy? And your answer was
yes. And one of my friends just so happened to be a really experienced therapist. He actually just crossed 50,000 hours / sessions, which is just insane, because you think about mastery, people say 10,000 hours, 50,000.
wow.
Yeah, this guy's amazing. But he was like, is there, he told me the same thing that we're talking about. You don't necessarily have to have something broken in order to get or receive therapy. And he's like, is there something that you want more out of life? And I told him, yeah, I want to, maximize my potential, chase that, that Mario star. And so, we did a couple sessions. And again, I wasn't a person that from a mental and emotional side, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, you weren't diagnosed with something, I'm diagnosed with severe OCD. So I see a therapist for just life in general, but that specifically as well. For you, there wasn't that piece of it.
Yeah, no.
Right.
And but this is a person, again, that's a master of the mind.
Yes.
And yeah, we did a couple sessions, and it really, really did make a big difference. And I'm not just saying that because of this podcast or anything it's just me saying I have no issue asking for help. Because like, what's the worst that can happen is that you realize, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Maybe I didn't need it. Big deal. But it, like, even then, there's still like so many little things you could take from it. And what I got from it was, we uncovered, you know, ways in which I can help to maximize my potential. What are some, even the tiniest things that are holding me back? Part of that being that fear of being unsuccessful that we talked about before. Instead of viewing it that way, using it as fuel to, you know, to motivate myself and prove to myself that, you know, I can do things, and self-reflection on the things I've done. So yeah, there's a ton of
Totally
positive and game-changing things I got out of it.
So it's like, it sounds like over the years since high school, you've like gradually increased your baseline, and your baseline of existence has been amazing. And I can feel this energy of, okay, yeah, I know I'm effing great. Like, I know I love my life, and what else is out there? And I've spent, you're 28 too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've spent 28 years living, growing, and right now I'm at like probably the best point that I've been. I'm talking as though I'm you, so if this doesn't resonate,
no, it's awesome. Yeah.
Best point I've been, and 3 years ago, I didn't know that this point was possible. What else is out there? And then continuing to just grow without diminishing the awesomeness of where you currently are.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
So cool.
Spot on. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that touches on like reflection, where I think that's definitely important. Because oftentimes we get caught up in like keeping up with people, which I did quite a bit of trying to like keep up with, you know, friends from a financial standpoint, from a experiences standpoint, traveling standpoint, all this like material standpoint. But forget, you know, to look at ourselves and what we want, and to see how far we've come in that sector.
I love it. Let's end with that.
It's perfect.
Any last words before you say hi to the judge?
Yeah. Kindness is the cure. Kindness cures all.
Ooh,
that's what I
with a
would
K.
say.
Kindness cures with a K.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, if you don't follow this guy already, clearly he's a god. So Kind Konrad with K's. Follow him. He's amazing. He will for sure be on here again. So if you follow me, I just forced you to be on here again. So hope you like me.
No, you're spoiling me. This has been an awesome conversation. Now I have the whole rest of the day to attack it with just this feel-good energy that this conversation brought.
I love it. Okay, thank you so much again. I've never been happier that we connected, and that's it.
Yeah, thank you. No, you're awesome. I really enjoyed this.
Me too. Bye, guys.
See you guys.